All right, we got a special episode for you guys today. We have guest Michael Schumer back on the show. Last time he was on the show, we were talking about The Last of Us, Part 1, Part 2, and our Season 2 predictions. And in this episode, we're talking video game adaptations. Which video game adaptations that we enjoyed, which ones we did not. We're going to list our favorite adaptations and other video games that would be great movies. And then I'll be going into a little bit in-depth to fresh take on Twisted Metal, the new show. So, check it out. All right, let's get going. Cue the music. Heyo, welcome to Don't Evolve Me, the place like Ash Ketchum's Pikachu. We don't evolve, we just level up.
Level up.
What's up, Michael?
Oh, not much, my friend. Not much, my friend.
It's been a while. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
I think the last time we did a podcast together was March this year.
I'm pretty sure it was the Last of Us episode, wasn't it?
Yeah, Last of Us Season 2 predictions.
And then there was a whole slew of shit right here. I forget, I can't even remember how it all started.
Well, we were supposed to do... So here's the thing, for everybody listening. We've had this episode in the chamber since April.
Mm-hmm.
And we had this since April, and then that's when shit started happening. Well, I think you had to reschedule, and then all the shit with my Crohn's happened, and then boom, I haven't been able to get this rescheduled until about now. But that's because you got a new job.
I did get a new job. It's awesome.
Congratulations.
I appreciate it.
What do you do when you're not podcasting?
I'm not going to go to my actual job description because I think that would bore your audience to tear. But I fix the computers.
You can just do the title.
I'm the guy you call, and I tell you to restart your device.
Have you restarted it? Is it plugged in?
Yes, absolutely. And if it's not plugged in, I'll just tell you have a high impedance air gap going into the system, and you really need to correct that before we can move forward.
There you go.
Mm.
All right, so we on the agenda, we got show me your socks, show me your wares. I got nothing other than the hat, the Pokemon hat that I usually wear going Pokemon Go. And you've told me you're just wearing nothing but black.
You should. I just like how you said that. You just told me what you were wearing. Like, you have to say that in a more sultry tone. Yeah, no, I'm just wearing. I would look like I'm gonna go play basketball, but I don't play basketball, so.
You tell it.
I'm just a fat white kid sitting in this chair at home.
I mean, I'm a fat white kid too, but I play basketball. I'm one of the fat.
See, there's the difference. That's the key difference, though.
So if I don't shoot it like a fat white kid, I feel like the fat white kid shoots it over their head.
That would be me.
I have a better shooting stroke than that. Even though I wouldn't say I'm a great shooter. I'm better within the key. But 3 points, nah, I can't do that bullshit.
I like granny style. But yeah, no.
I like the camera angle because the people in the obviously podcast they can't see it, but the camera angle that I got going on, as long as I finish the wall, it actually looks really great because you got the pops on the one side and you got the comics all on the wall.
I think the only thing you have to do is you're getting a little glare on that. It would be your right hand side, my left hand side. So I don't know if you have your window open, but yeah, other than that, it looks fantastic.
But I actually have some news on that front. I'm not sure when, but it's happening. We're actually changing studios.
I saw the announcement in our little Discord.
Yeah, we're excited. Moving in the studio. I'm excited that we can't do anything yet because it's gonna take some time. It's gonna take some money. I want to do it right. I'm gonna get a giant couch in there, and then I'm gonna have a camera set up where you can see all of us rather than an awkward angle that we've tried to do, but it wasn't working out. So I'm excited for that, but I'm also excited to do other projects too in there. Because it'd be really cool to do a board game night and have an actual style to it, or doing something like a Pokemon draft, but I have like different cameras set up where other people can talk like strategy, and then put it all together for a YouTube show.
Do you have insulation and stuff in there? Like, would that
Oh
work
yeah,
for the winter?
it's all insulated. It's pretty warm in there. For the
Okay.
most part, it's cool, but today, I mean, it's super hot and humid out in Minnesota today. So, but it's super hot everywhere.
Yeah, it's god awful. The
Yeah,
chafing is real right now. Not a
it
fan.
it sure is. And up in the studio, it is hot because we don't have central air.
Yeah, I was gonna ask how Barilla was in there.
Oh, it's bad. So I've been starting to do TikTok videos lately, and so every morning I'll shower and then I'll do the TikTok video. So I just get it off right away. I'm doing movie reviews on TikTok, and if I don't dry off, the water from the shower and like the sweat from my face like just goes on. So every time I do a TikTok video, I just when I see myself, I'm like, God, I'm so fucking sweaty. Like it's so hot up here. Even in the morning when I try to do it, it's hot. So the guests that I've had over the summer, I apologize every time we do a podcast. I'm like, I'm sorry for how hot it is.
That's all right.
But
We
it is
appreciate you, Jake.
well,
I
thank
say as I sit in my office, nearly 4 hours away.
you.
Actually, I
That's
guess
fair.
from you it's more like 2.5, but
Yeah, it's like 2.5. All right, should we get into it?
we should. We
All right,
shall.
do you want to start this topic or should I start this topic?
You hit it up, my friend.
All
I'm a
right.
little out of the game, so I need to. It's like I need a little stretches here.
Yeah, usually you just take over at this point, so it's
I
weird you letting
do.
me just go. All right, what have you nerding out on? You want to go or should I go?
Oh, you go first.
All
Clarity,
right.
know what you're gonna say when I tell you.
I've been nerding out on two different things. Zelda.
Okay.
I've in the last 2 weeks I've gotten really hardcore into it. So like a month ago I got really no. I stopped playing for like a whole month.
Tears.
And yep.
Okay. I didn't know if
started
you
playing
were.
I started playing like New Vegas and I think Skyrim at one point.
Okay. Okay.
And so now I just recently started back up, and I'm getting into all the side quests before I finally face Ganon. I got all the fairies, got my armor up to 60, got the Master Sword. I don't know. I'm just
You
doing
did
all the
even you
things.
went even more ham than I did.
Oh yeah, I'm going. I went hard into it. I found out you can build a house in it, and
Yeah, it is really cool.
I spent like 4 to 5 days just grinding to get all the rubies so I can build my house. I'm 15 out of 15 buildings.
How many of the side quests have you done?
Decent.
Or are you just more exploring?
I mostly just explore. I will do quests that I don't even discover. Like I'll just do the quest. I'll just beat the dungeon and like quest complete. I'm like, oh cool. I didn't even know this was a quest. I see a dungeon, I see a monster, I kill them, boom, bada bing, bada boom, you know?
Yeah, honestly, like I kind of am sad we didn't get to do a podcast when that first came out because it's definitely like I mean it's still in the zeitgeist for gaming, but like there've
I
been
mean
so many other good
Baldur's
games.
Gate 3 just came out, and apparently
Yeah,
that's a huge game.
I haven't. I've keep seeing it on my feed, but I haven't really checked it out a whole lot. Well, what else are you nerding on? Well, that's a whole nother discussion.
Yeah, well, I actually kind of want to tell the story about how I got Zelda.
Yeah.
I might have talked about it, but it was a really cool moment because I was in the hospital. You were definitely a part of it. You know the story. But like
I've
I was in the hospital. I was 3 days out of surgery. I was pretty rough shape at this point. Like surgery wise, I'm doing a lot better. Like pain wise at this point in time. But I was wanting to get. I have a tube in my mouth, and I wanted to get the tube out. I was starving, wanted to be able to eat, but I couldn't eat until I got the tube out of my mouth. And I was also just really bored, wanted something to do. Zelda came out that day, and then my surgeon came in, and he was about to talk. Then out of nowhere, you called me, and then showed up and dropped off Zelda right in front of me, put it on the table that I had.
and then I
And
just
I was
walked
like,
away, and I was like,
and,
"Have
he,
fun, bye."
and And I was like, holy shit. And then literally, literally a minute later, my surgeon was like, all right, let's get the tube out of you. I'm like, fuck yeah, this is the greatest news I had in like 2 minutes.
It was a very fun little moment to drop. I remember I don't typically pre-order games, so I try not to, but so I waited for it to come out. And I remember I picked up my physical copy and my Link Amiibo, which is fly as hell. And I was debating on if it was weird or not to do that. I was like, is it weird to get Jake this game? And I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. He's in the hospital. Like, he already had a hell of I think it was a month at that point of all the trash you were going through. Like, just god awful, not fun times. And I was like, this should put a smile on his face. So.
Oh, it definitely did. And
I was like, I remember though, I was at a huge time crunch because I was down at my old job and it was one of my last weeks there. And I was the supervisor or whatever on call, or not on call, but it was my lunch break, so I was like really gunning it to get back in time. I was like, okay, run, go.
Yeah, you were like in and out.
Bolted it at Target, like grabbed it, flew over to the hospital, dropped off the game, and I think I went home and worked the rest of the day remote. But yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah, well, it was much appreciated. I didn't play it like the first day, but like once Sapphire dropped off like the console so I can play it on the big screen, then I was all in.
Oh yeah.
And now over the summer I'll just have moments where I'll just play Zelda all day.
So I hope it remains a special memory for you.
It does. It's I don't know if I would say core memory. It might be from like my 30s. Core memory is core 30 and up memory.
There we go. That'll work.
Anytime I see Tears of the Kingdom, that's what I'm going to think of.
Oh.
All right. The other thing I've been nerding out on, but I'm going to wait until we do the fresh takes. Twisted Metal.
Okay.
So perfect for this episode. It's a video game adaptation. You don't think a Twisted Metal TV show would be good, and I'm going to tell you, spoiler alert, it's good. If not, great.
I'm going to give you a spoiler because I was going to mention this. I know of Twisted Metal. Never played it before. I've heard about it. I know it's like an old school PlayStation game. It's a racing game, right?
It is kind of a racing game. It's more of like a combat car game.
Okay.
So it's basically, you know how like you have cars and you smash them together and you go pew 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 with the cars with the guns. It's basically a description of Twisted Metal.
Okay, interesting. They haven't made a new one of those in a long time. Wait, actually, I'm going to look this up while we're on the...
I believe 2013? I think I actually have that game, the last one they made for PS3. I have it.
Wow, they made an adaptation of a game that hasn't had a new... Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah, and that game actually wasn't too bad. I remember playing it. I remember some of the storylines. Not bad. But we'll get into it. So let's get in. Actually, you tell me. What have you been nerding out
on? Well, I think I already told you. I showed you. Yeah, I got a Steam Deck a few months back, and Dave Dudurf like, nope, you get one chance. Well, we're back, folks. We had a technical difficulty there.
That was my bad. I exited out of the link that we had, which stops the whole show. So anyway, get to it, Michael.
So I got a Steam Deck a few months back. So I've been just trying to play everything I can on it because it's that new hardware experience. You're just like, oh, I've gotta make as much use of this thing as I can. But it came out at the worst time it could have. Like, I got it at like the worst time I could have gotten it for myself because Tears of the Kingdom came out like 2 weeks later, and then a franchise that's near and dear to my heart, and I know I've talked to you about this at crazy, is the new Final Fantasy game came out. I guess it'd be like a little bit like more like a month and a half ago. So I went straight from Tears, tried to beat that as fast as possible, and then I went into Final Fantasy 16 on my PS5, beat that, and now I'm back to playing. I'm alternating between a couple games on my Steam Deck right now. I've been playing a little Diablo 4. I've been playing this indie game called Crosscode. Shout out to the devs there. That game's pretty freaking fun.
Nice.
And then this is the part where I know you're gonna roll your eyes or just laugh. I've been playing Final Fantasy 14 again.
Oh,
I'm on that MMO grind, son. So yeah, that's really been what I've been playing.
nice.
And then I don't know, just other things.
I hear great things about Diablo 4.
It's pretty fun. It's not. I enjoy it, but more so because like quite a few of my friends are playing it. So it's really fun to be like, oh, like I don't find a lot of enjoyment in it when I'm playing by myself. Like I'm like, okay, but when I hop on to like and do some dungeons with some friends, that's pretty damn enjoyable, I would say.
Nice.
So,
all right, should we get to the news?
We should. We shall.
I will put in the sound effects afterwards. All right, let's get into the news. I'm pretty sure you heard about this. But apparently, Nintendo's new console is coming out late 2024.
That is the alleged. Yes, I have seen that news. It's allegedly what's going to happen. But I don't know. Not Iwata. Who am I thinking of? A couple of the big Nintendo bosses have claimed, they're like, why would we make a new device? I think they're just doing it to stave people off. Okay. But
I don't know.
Sorry about that.
A loud one.
Woo!
Sorry, folks. Gesundheit.
Yeah, I was trying to move the mic away as I could. Yeah, I don't think there's any way they can make the Switch go any. I mean, maybe they can make it last a little bit longer, but Tears of the Kingdom, I remember when that came out and I was playing it, I was like, yeah, this is like the swan song of this thing. I don't think
it's a fitting song.
They maybe have a couple.
Because Breath of the Wild was
began
like
and end.
The first one, yeah, and Tears of the Kingdom is the swan song. I feel like Switch is such a good console that they can, like, if I was Nintendo, this is what I would do. I would just make a second Switch, not a Wii U, but really just if it's possible, making a better Switch.
I think I agree with you. I definitely think Nintendo has realized their market has changed a lot in the last few years. And I've always had Nintendo consoles my whole life. And my first one was a Game Boy Color back in like 2000. No, would it be 2000? Maybe 1999.
Which color did you have?
Green, lime green. It's still sitting in my. I should really go take that out because it's been sitting in my
first game.
Pokemon Blue, of course.
Pokemon Yellow.
Oh.
Then I went Pokemon Red. I don't know why I went backwards.
That's all right. Yellow is tight. I did play that on the Virtual Console on 3DS when that was released a few years back. I enjoyed that thoroughly.
I did not because I'm so used to emulators that I'm like, this is so fucking slow.
Yeah, they don't give you any of that stuff. I do wonder if they'll ever bring the Nintendo Switch Online, but I definitely doubt it. Like, I think
should.
They're just not going to. They should. It would be smart of them to do that, but they're not going to.
So.
But, yeah, so, like, their market has changed so much because they started off home consoles, and that was, like, their bread and butter, NES, SNES, and then the Game Boy Color came out, and I think, like, Pokemon specifically was such a huge lightning rod draw to their handheld, so they're like, oh, we should make some of our other franchises for this. Or, like, really kind of focus in on this more as, like, less of a niche.
For, like, the longest time, because
they did
Game Boys, and they did like Nintendo 64 with Game Boy Color, and then they had the Game Boy Advance with the GameCube, and then it was the DS with the Wii, then 3DS, Wii U, and now they're just like, wait, this is almost a little bit too much. Let's just make them both switch.
I think what really did change their trajectory is, if I recall correctly, the GameCube, it sold all right. It wasn't like as successful as I thought it would be. Then you had the Wii, which had an incredible launch and install base, but the problem is, and it's kind of a problem I feel like the PlayStation 5 is getting. 1 second. Sorry, I thought I heard something. it's a similar problem that I feel like the PlayStation 5 is that it's got a huge install base, but there's just no games for
Yeah.
it. And I know if there's any Sony fanboys in the chat or in the listening to us, they're gonna go flame you on your Facebook page for this. But I just feel like the Wii, yes, it had such a strong install base, but it didn't have any. I mean, everybody had Wii Sports, Smash Brothers, Mario Kart. There were a few games, but it wasn't something like you were just. Yeah, Galaxy. You had some of those standout titles, but what I feel like it never really hit like the point where you were buying games regularly for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I feel like this.
You kind of bought it for the motion controlled games, and
Yep.
and that was it.
And then it was like, now what?
You're literally just spending what $200 on Wii Sports and just to play Wii Sports. You buy the attachments for it. Maybe you buy Mario Galaxy, but not it.
Or Smash Brothers or Zelda, but they didn't really have any like. I just feel like they never really were able to capitalize on it in the way that they were hoping.
Yeah, and then they did Wii U, which for the most part was a pretty decent console because I owned a Wii U for a little bit. The gamepad I actually enjoyed, but again, they just didn't really have that many games for it.
See, now I would somewhat fight you on that.
They had better games than like
they
Wii,
did
because you could also play the Wii games as well. So it was better in that regards, but like there was not like if you had the Wii, it wasn't like buy the Wii U. You have to buy the Wii U. It's like
So I actually I don't know why, but a few weeks ago I got really bored and I was watching a bunch of videos on like the history of the Wii U and like why it like quote unquote failed, because Nintendo has outright said like they failed. Like as a console, it completely and utterly bombed. But and the biggest reason they said that it did is because people didn't understand the Wii U was a successor platform. Like it wasn't. A lot of people thought, I guess, allegedly, it seemed like the biggest issue they were having is that there was a decent amount of people that thought it was just like an add-on for the Wii and it's its own thing entirely. Like,
well, it wasn't there. They kind of fucked up when they called it Wii U.
Yeah, they almost should have just said Wii 2 or something. You know what I mean? Like. So, like, to give that indication of this is a sequel piece instead of just like an attachment.
Yeah.
But anyways, I would say that did give them such. I think that was around the point where now you have on the opposite side. Quick history. You have Game Boy Color, which blew everything out of the water because Pokemon. Yep. Game Boy Advance, which blew everything out of the water because Pokemon. Yep. You have DS, Game Boy. You know, I could go on. I mean, there are of course so many other games that go with all those consoles. But let's be honest here. Games like Pokemon.
Yeah.
Yes, like, and so I think what Nintendo finally wised up and realized is, hey, we have a huge, absolutely astronomical install base for handheld consoles. Mm-hmm. And like the Wii U was around the time you could tell they were kind of like, oh, okay, people like that portability. Yep. And now I think when they thought of the Switch, it was literally perfect because it's console and handheld. It is like that merging of the two. And now everybody's trying to replicate it. AK, you have the Steam Deck and all these like the Asus ROG Ally.
One thing I really like about the Switch is they really what it does. Like everyone chooses between PS5, Xbox, or PC, right? But then, like, hey, if you need a second console, go grab the Switch, because then you can play games on the go. Or you can play it on the big screen. And we're going to give you quite a pretty good decent amount of game selections for you to choose, plus the NES, NES, N64 option as well. So I honestly think they hit it out of the park with the Switch, and I do not regret getting it.
Yeah, I don't either. I've had people say, there's no games on here. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
You have two of the best games of all
time.
On the Switch.
I have so many. I have so many games on there. I have more games on my freaking Switch than I really even need. There's like a decent amount of them I haven't played, and they're good games. I just haven't gotten around to it. There's whole franchises on there that are incredible. Oh, yeah. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. I have only played a little bit of it, but I know people love Xenoblade Chronicles. Oh, yeah. That game's supposed to be incredible.
I've played earlier versions before and enjoyed it, but never actually bought the full game.
Okay. Yeah, I've only played bits and pieces of it. I really struggled with that MMO style combat. I might enjoy it more now that I've been playing 14 and kind of am used to that. But um, yeah, I don't know. I just think it's so silly to me that there are people that are like, "Oh, there's no games on here." I'm like, "What are you talking about? You have Smash Brothers, Mario Kart, Splatoon, Zelda,
Mario
Metroid,
Kart.
Pikmin,
I also I
Mario,
love what they do with
Mario
I love what they
Kart."
do with Mario Kart because they took all the DLC from the Wii U and like it's still the same game, but they just added so much more. And then now recently, instead of making a whole new game, they're just like, hey, we're just gonna release, you know, 30,
Extra tracks.
basically a whole game's worth of tracks in the
Yeah, how
DLC.
many did it came out to a decent amount of them. I haven't played.
There's six.
I'm not a huge Mario Kart fan,
There's
but
6 waves, so 24, I think. If that's no 32,
okay.
32, 32 tracks, and the last wave comes out this winter.
Damn, that's all. Like, I was trying to think back when they first announced it. It's been like a year or
Yeah,
so.
not every track's perfect. Some of it looks really choppy, or like the background kind of just is bare minimum. Like they kind of like
Yep,
it feels a
yep.
little bit rushed, but there's some good tracks on there too.
I'll have to check that out because I think I do have the Switch Online membership that comes with it for
Yeah,
free, quote unquote. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I do think that Nintendo has to. See, I'm just trying to think. Like, Nintendo's mind is they never do anything you expect them to do. You know what I
that's
mean?
fair.
Like, the most logical course of action is the one they just completely stray from.
They like
So I'm like trying to figure out
they
where they want to,
they
because like to me it seems like they're trying to separate more from what a traditional console is, more and more and
they
more
try
and
to push
more.
the mold and with all these like
Yep.
cool new ideas. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But they've always been that company that tries to push video game technology further. Because I feel like no other
And
company outside of Nintendo would have done something like the Switch. Like the concept of the
no,
Switch
no,
is amazing. Like the Wii
absolutely not.
U is
Yeah.
even pretty cool, and that was like the earlier version of the Switch. But I don't know how they advanced the Switch further outside of improving the
Yeah,
graphics.
that's where I'm at too with it. Because I'm like, I can't see them doing just a hardware revision like that. You know what I mean? Where it's like, yeah, we just want to make this more powerful. Like, it has to have. I mean, I think that would be really cool, to be honest with you.
Mm.
Like, if they managed to make something PS5 or like very, very close to PS5 level. No, it would have to be at this point because the PS5 is so old. Yeah, they would literally have to make, like, if it's going to be hardware, just that it's got to be at least as powerful as like Xbox Series X or PS5 for it to be. Because right now, what they do have that niche audience of like people that love handheld game, that love that portability, love handhelds, love the freedom of being able to take their consoles games on the go, but also have the experience on the big screen. But the part they don't have is like the COD fans. You know what I mean? Like people that like the games they're playing need to be on, like, well, they don't need to, but are going to be on the more powerful hardware
Mm.
systems. But I do wonder what they would do to like change it, like going forward. I'm sure we'll see leaks about it at some
Yeah.
point, but I definitely am curious, or if they'll just lean more into the portability, where it's like, yeah, no, it's even smaller. I don't know.
Who knows? They do like do the whole like mini or even extra. Maybe they'll make it extra large.
I would like that, honestly. A big, like, I was thinking of that. Like, my Steam Deck has a pretty sizable screen, but I was like, man, honestly, like, I'm blind as shit, and I would love like just a nice, big, like outrageously big. Like, you're not really bringing it anywhere.
Yeah.
You're just gonna sit on your couch and watch TV while you play on this like huge tablet-sized
Yeah.
device. Like, that would be
That
tight. I'd be
that
very okay with
that would
that.
be nice. All right, should we move on? That
Yeah,
was a
sorry.
long segment. Hey, it fits the theme, so it works. Outside of the theme, Loki trailer. Have you seen Loki?
But yes, yep.
Loki trailer for season 2 came out.
I saw that they announced it. I haven't watched it
It
yet.
looks, it actually looks good. I'm down on Marvel right now because Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 was really great, but then Secret Invasion was supposed to be the show that kind of like took over. It was supposed to be the show that puts Marvel back on track, and it did not do that.
I haven't seen it yet at all. So
I give it a 2+, but I'm really disappointed by it.
Oof, that's rough.
Yeah, you think a show that like has scrolls in it, has super scrolls in it, has Nick Fury leading, has people that you know to turn out to be scrolls and people that you know die in this series. You think that'd just be a home run? No. All that I described to you is boring. Like it just I don't know, they tell the story in like a very boring, I'm just gonna tell you things rather than show you things method. And it's a show that just feels small. I'm excited for Loki season 2. I think that show, for the most part, track record wise, is a borderline great show. But yeah, overall with Marvel, I'm kind of just down on it.
What do you think they need to do at this point? Because like I agree. For me personally, like I really enjoyed the first 3 phases. Or wait, no. What do we first 4 or first 3? I always forget.
3. Phase 4 is when they start doing the shows.
Okay, so yeah, the first 3 phases I thought they were excellent. I definitely feel like there's a lot of superhero fatigue right now. Like, and maybe not. Well, go ahead. You say your
yeah, there is, but I think James Gunn hit it on the nose with his quote, and I don't know his quote like verbatim, but just the general theme of it is if you make good grounded characters, like people will like the show, like people will like the product. But there's a lot of shows, a lot of movies that are just getting really lazy lately in its writing.
Yep.
And it just basically people are just making movies to make movies, not making movies because they love the characters. And that was
that's true.
That was like basically James Gunn's point. And I 100% agree. Like Secret Invasion, they made Secret Invasion because people asked for it. But the problem is there was no soul in like the show. They checked all the boxes, but the people running it, it didn't seem like they actually like were moved by the product.
Yeah. Do you think this is like the end of the MCU right now, or do you think it's just
no?
It almost feels like a stalling car where it'll like sputter to life for a brief shining moment, but like then it'll go back to like just like dying out on you on the street.
I just think they need to. I know Bob Iger talked about this, and now the whole writer actor strike. People have a lot of mixed feelings on the CEO of Disney right now. But I think he did have a point. We have to scale back the production and start making quality products again. And I think, and that's just that's Disney as a whole right now. Because Star Wars, their products outside of Andor hasn't really been great. They've made like I compared Secret Invasion to Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I don't know if you watched the Obi-Wan Kenobi show.
Yep.
Wait, you have watched it?
Yeah, I enjoyed it personally.
Yeah, like it's enjoyable, but like I felt like the show didn't really need to be there. Like there wasn't like a love for the character. It was more of a hey, people really want this. Let's make a safe, good show. They'll watch it.
You didn't think it had like a love? I feel like it was a love letter to that Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan and Anakin Skywalker. At least I feel like it was a love letter to that relationship.
Yeah.
Like the last episode with them, like I don't know if it's too early to give spoilers, but that last episode, everything that happened there, that was like I was like crying at points.
That was like the best part of the show, but I don't know. I felt like there was a lot more to be had.
That's fair. That's a fair.
And I feel like
my biggest.
I feel like they just made it because people wanted it, rather than they made it because there was a story they loved that needed to be shared. Secret Invasion just seemed like
that's a fair criticism. Okay.
And they took the easy route. They didn't. You know diving, the sport, the concept of diving.
Yeah.
Basically, the harder the dive is, the more points you get, but it's harder to execute. They basically, with both Secret Invasion and Obi-Wan Kenobi, they took easy dives, and they didn't like perfectly execute the easy dives. And so like it's not great. Like if they would have took a harder approach at Obi-Wan, like the whole like he's a hermit and just tell like a simple story about him just being a hermit, but like overall it's a character study. A lot harder of a show to pull off, but it would feel more like what happened from movie to movie.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas this seems like, hey, we want to tell an awesome story, so we're gonna tell this awesome story, even though it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, it definitely does not make a whole lot of sense in the grand scheme of
And
things.
they tried their best, and I feel like they explained the Leia Obi-Wan relationship, the whole like Obi-Wan Kenobi. I'm like blanking that line. Oh, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope.
Yeah.
Like it explains that, but it doesn't explain like I feel like Obi-Wan wouldn't leave his post.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's carry on. So you've watched The Boys.
I haven't seen the Gen V trailer either, so don't hate me.
No worries.
But I keep seeing it, but I get really worried about that because I'm worried it's gonna be like I haven't seen the trailer for it yet, and maybe it's like I'm worried like they're like I like The Boys, I think it's cool, but I'm like, do we really need like a Boys quote unquote multiverse? You know, not multiverse, but like what's the word I'm looking for here? Like universe, like
universe. So to speak.
Yeah, and that's the part where I'm like, I don't think so. Maybe there's a story to be told there.
Kind of like,
but I also kind of hate
Arrowverse, MCU. You know, if you spread out your talent, you kind of just all the shows, all the projects, the quality just goes down.
Yep, absolutely. I would rather see like take your time, tell the story of The Boys first, then move on to something.
Yeah, kind of like Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul type of situation.
Yes, absolutely. Speaking of which, I'm rewatching that right now, Breaking Bad right now, and damn, it shows.
We might have to have a Breaking Bad episode because we just finished it.
That's a good show.
But anyway, Gen V looks a lot like X-Men because it's all about like the university. It looks like you get the college hijinks. So I'm intrigued because if it's just as good as Boys or it's the same quality, I'm into it. But yeah, I'm a little worried when they're like, hey, spin-off from this awesome TV show. It's like, I don't really want to spin off. Just focus on the main project. Because like
it'd be one thing if they had one season left of The Boys, and then they're going to continue the story after that. You know what I mean? But I don't think they're really close to being finished with that story. I suspect there's at least 2 or 3 more seasons of The Boys.
Well, they have season 4, and I'm assuming they're going to at least season 5, if not more than that. We'll see.
I think 5 would be good. Honestly, I don't know if you've noticed this, but it definitely seems like there's been a downward trend in season amount in recent years. Like instead of getting these stupidly long 10-season shows, it's like a lot of my favorite shows in recent memory have been 5-6 seasons, like The Good Place, Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, BoJack Horseman.
Well, even this year, Barry, Succession. I don't know if you've watched those shows yet, but they all
I haven't watched.
Yep. But they have both HBO, and they're both creators of like those respected shows. Coming up to the 4th season, they talked to the HBO boss, and these are like 2 of the most prominent shows on HBO outside of House of Dragons, and I think I don't know the other one, but like they both came up to the HBO creator and they're just like, hey, I think our show's ending. Like I don't narratively, story wise, we don't really have much more story left that isn't like that wouldn't be redundant.
Stupid.
Yeah, basically. And like I really like that HBO how they they're just like, oh yeah, like, okay, tell your story. And even with Game of Thrones, which I'm still mad about this, they wanted to do it all the way through, and obviously the creators are just like, nope, we want to end it now, and that was a huge mistake. All right, last bit of news, and then we can get into more video games. Post Malone buys the One Ring Magic card for $2.
I think I heard about this.
It was at a $2 million value, but it's undisclosed how much he gave.
He's just like, I want it. I'm gonna buy it with that music money.
You have that money. So, just wanted to bring that up. All right, should we get into fresh takes?
Let's get into fresh takes.
Fresh takes. Get your fresh takes. Here we got Twisted Metal, the TV show starring Anthony Mackie, and I forget Stephanie, the girl from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I don't know her.
It was Rosa, Stephanie Beatriz.
Yeah,
I think it's something like that.
As well, wait, who else is in there?
Who plays the clown dude? Isn't that another big actor?
Will Arnett voices Sweet Tooth.
Oh, Will Arnett voice.
All right, so
That's
I need
hilarious.
to talk about this show, and I almost did a YouTube video on it. And I still might do a YouTube video on it. So this show, I want to watch it for this podcast specifically, right? It's 10 episodes long, 30 minutes per episode, which is for mostly 5 hours, right? Not bad. I was like, okay, I can get through, 4 days. We can get through this. Guess how long it took?
How long?
1 day.
Damn.
1 day. And here's the thing: Sapphire also watched it with me for 1 day.
You're just like, yeah, we're just gonna binge this.
We weren't planning on it. That wasn't the plan. She didn't even know she wanted to watch it. She's like, "You, what's Twisted Metal?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's about, cars battling each other. Like that's mostly the story outside of there's this like godlike being called Calypso, and he hosts what is called the Twisted Metal tournament, and then whoever wins the Twisted Metal tournament gets to make their one and only wish. And it's a very there's a lot of dark takes. Like it's a very dark tale, but it's one of those tales that it doesn't take it completely seriously. So I'm gonna give my review on Twisted Metal here, and try not to put too many spoilers. So this is a show it's another apocalypse show, and it's very much like The Last of Us, where there's a lot of dark things happening, right? The apocalypse happens, there's all these different civilizations, there's all these different groups, and pretty much 90% of these groups are bad. Like they don't have any law. They're like one group will literally collect body parts, like the rich elite will collect body parts off of their subjects and wear them like, jewelry and stuff. There's another group who's like this religious fanatic group, but they're really just a bunch of hillbillies that, want to kill people. And then Jason McInerney, he's also in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Rose's boyfriend, the crazy one.
Oh yeah, dude. That guy's been in so much shit recently. Yeah. He works.
Yeah, he does. He's in this one too. He's like this crazy. He's the crazy preacher dude that leads this group. There's Thomas Church, plays Sandman from Spider-Man.
Oh yeah.
He leads what is called the Lawmen, and they're basically like they try to bring back the law, but they're very harsh with their sentencing. And then you have the people who run the cities. One of them being, her name's Raven, who employs Anthony Mackie, who's what is called a milkman, and basically they're just delivery men. They deliver from society to society to society, but everybody tries to get their packages. It's something rare.
Yep.
And so that's kind of the basis of the show. Is Anthony Mackie tries to go from place to place. He's a milkman. And then you just meet up all these characters, and then Raven comes in like, hey, I need you to get this package from New Chicago, which apparently in New Chicago is like the bad part of the country. Everything takes place in the West. And so he tries to get to New Chicago. He meets Stephanie Beatrice, right?
Yeah.
He meets her character. Her character is called Quiet. Meets her character, and then they just meet up a bunch of other people. And there's this other faction called the Truckers. I don't remember what their actual name is, but they all just drive continuously like it's Snowpiercer, but it's all on like these semi trucks that connect together, and it's like this giant hall. And then the last group is created by Sweet Tooth, the killer psychotic clown. And he's such a psychopath, but he's like one of those psychopaths that's fucking entertaining as hell to watch. Like if he sees anybody, he's just like he'll murder them, but then he'll just turn around and just like try to make them laugh too at the same time. And so like he'll have interactions with like the main characters, and it's just fucking fascinating. And then he like, through the show, he's like, wait, maybe I shouldn't kill everybody, because like he wants to put on a show. Like he literally will ask people, are you gonna come to the show? Usually people don't last that long in it. But then he just learns through the TV show that, hey, if people are around me, they can give me applause, they can do this and that. And so it's just fun to watch everybody else interact with this character because they're all like, yeah, let's keep him happy because he will literally fucking murder me if I don't. So,
Oh,
but this show is just fresh. Like this show definitely tries. This show tries to be fresh. It tries to be funny. Anthony Mackie, I can't tell if he's just like trying to do a Will Smith um, impersonation, but he reminds me a lot of like Will Smith. He's just like the talking, makes jokes all the time, and he does actually a pretty great job at it. This show's kind of funny. It hits for the most part. There's a lot of times where it doesn't, and sometimes it's confusing because this show takes on so much heavy subject matter, but tonally sometimes they'll make a joke out of it. Like two characters will like go through a tough situation and then they'll murder somebody and then they'll laugh about it as a joke. But in other parts, like the characters will break down, and that's where like Stephanie Beatriz, Anthony Mackie, like you see these characters break down, and you're like, God damn, it's actually like kind of moving a little bit. But the show, it's like heavy subject matter, but doesn't take it too seriously. Whereas like The Last of Us does. So
it is interesting. It's an interesting parallel. So it's more like I think somebody had said it's like supposed to be a really. I mean, it's. I haven't heard anybody say it's really touching, but I appreciate that you brought that. That's a good point to bring up. But I heard it is kind of similar to The Last of Us in that it's like a video game adaptation and it does what it sets out to do, which is to be like a big, dumb, fun thing to watch. You're like, yeah, all right.
It is, I wouldn't know if I would say it's dumb fun. If it covers that category, but I don't know if it covers completely, if that makes sense.
Or at least maybe it's more like it just doesn't take itself too seriously.
It does not at all. And it might be for the better. I give this show my first thought for my rating for the show was a 4-.
Okay.
And then I talked it through with my wife, and she's like, no, it's a 4+. And then I kind of like rethought about it. I'm like, is this show debatably good or is it just great? And I'm like, no, this is just a great show. I will say it does. I read an article that said it runs out of gas at the end, and I'm like, it kind of does. Like it definitely is on a quarter tank when it finishes the show because like the last couple episodes kind of drag a little bit. And it leaves it to a place where, like, if they turned around for season 2 and they're like, hey, we're not doing the season 2, we're just going to release a video game for PlayStation 5 and it's going to have all these characters in it, like, I would be like, wait, that's perfect. Because season one basically acts like a giant cutscene for a video game.
Interesting.
Because they don't do the tournament until, I'm guessing, season 2. They just set everything up. But everything they set up is just fucking intriguing as hell. Like, I'm in. And Sapphire's in. She never played the games, but we watched.
Have you?
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's a lot of, what's really cool about this too is there's a lot of characters in there that you, like, remember. Like, they'll say the names. Like, one of them is Mr. Slam. And in the game, he usually drives, like, a giant crane or a giant, like, truck or something. And he's in the show. He just has a big dick that he performs with and slams things with.
Oh god!
And like it's kind of grotesque, but then it's like, oh, it's actually kind of cool. And then they just play around with a lot of like different characters. Like Twister is one of the famous characters. She's in it. Sweet Tooth obviously is the main character. Or he's not the main character of the show, but he's like the figurehead of the video game. He's in it. You get Agent Stone, he leads the lawmen, but he's a character in the game. And then the main character, his name's John Doe, but he doesn't know his real name. He had amnesia, so it's kind of like a mystery where it's like, wait, is he a main character? And then you have
interesting.
And then you have Quiet, who doesn't reveal her name, Stephanie Beatriz. So she's also a mystery character too. So it's like, damn, it's really cool. And then they have other characters at the end of the show that they tease out a little bit. So I'm excited. It's like one of those, damn, I don't know how they're going to do season 2. I have no idea how, like, it seems like it's going to be super expensive because it's just going to be a bunch of cars, battles.
Getting smashed to oblivion.
Yeah. So I don't know how narratively they're going to do it, but I'm excited for it. Or if they're just like, here's the video game, and this is the TV show that, like, is the intro, like, the intro to the new video game. Like, I would actually be down for that.
Jake's just on it. He's ready to go.
Yeah.
Give him some more Twisted Metal.
I didn't think I would have this opinion when I heard about the show, but goddamn, they do a good job. They do a great job. It's a 4 for me. I don't know if they can keep it up, but I'm in. Also, yeah, Will Arnett kills it. I'm trying to think what else I could talk about the show. I had another thought, but I'm forgetting it. So, but yeah, we can move on. I would recommend.
No, that's interesting. I'll have to keep that in mind. I don't have Peacock right now, but I may have to sub for it, just also because Office, and I do love my Office. Although I am curious if it will last, because they keep saying that it's not performing to the level they thought it was going to.
Twisted Metal?
No, Peacock.
Oh, yeah.
As like a platform. I haven't heard anything bad about Twisted Metal, really. I just know that they said Peacock's just not drawing in the numbers that they thought it would. I mean, I'm not that surprised.
I'm not either. But, I mean, there's only so much the Office can do, but when you think of streaming services, you don't think of Peacock. You think of HBO Max, Netflix,
yep.
Hulu, and you think of Disney Plus. You think of those 4, and I'm trying to think of who else would be the 5th one. Apple TV would probably be the 5th one. Like, yep. Peacock is just outside looking in, and it's kind of a, hey, how about you just don't make a streaming service because there's too many streaming services, and then you're like, there's not room for
there's just not enough buy-in. Yeah, there's just not enough, like, you don't have enough value add to somebody to say, yeah, I'm going to pay for this every... I had it for a few months, and it was nice to be able to watch, like, the Superfan episodes of The Office 100%, but I just don't know if I could say it was worth, like, a sub overall. Yeah.
All right, should we move on to our main topic?
Yes, we should.
All right, video game adaptations. I feel like it's been a huge thing lately. Like, I feel like now everybody's rushing to get the video game IP to make it, and I'm excited for it because it's like, for us people who've been playing video games, it's been like 20 years in the making. Where it's like, where you guys fucking been? Like,
these are some great stories in these games.
And we covered one earlier this year, The Last of Us. That was arguably the greatest video game story ever.
I would still maintain it probably is out of all time, out of anything I've ever played. I know some people, I haven't played it, which is going to get people very like upset. I think you're going to bring this up later on, but like, I know the other game I've heard as comparable to The Last of Us is Red Dead Redemption.
Red Dead's pretty good.
And I haven't played it before, but I've heard it's an excellent story.
It's a pretty good story. But at the same time, if they adapted Red Dead, you would just be making a Western.
Yeah, it's true.
We'll talk about more of that later. So I kind of made a list of my top 5 movies, and what I made a list of top 5 movies, but I'm going to turn it into top 5 projects, and it looks a little bit different than what you're looking at. So here's like my top 5 projects of all time, and if you want to argue with me, go ahead. I also have like a list of other video game adaptations. So at number 5. I'm probably going to put the Super Mario Brothers.
Okay.
I think it's a huge hit. And I think you can make the argument that it's the biggest hit out of all of these films. I think it does a great job at bringing the nostalgia, bringing in the Easter eggs. It's a good intro film for a lot of young kids who may not know who Mario is. And I feel like that's crazy to think about, but like, you know, Mario, we grew up with Mario. The generation before us grew up with Mario. And I would say the generation after grew up on Mario. You know, the Gen Xers, Mario was like one of the first main video game icons. For us, so we grew up with multiple. We grew up with Mario, Sonic, Crash, Spyro, Master Chief. The next generation, Mario is still around, but now with this new generation, Gen, I don't even know what Gen it is because
who knows
at this point. They can't. I heard Gen Z. I heard COVID. I don't know. Whatever it is.
The Rona Gen.
Whatever my daughter like generation is. This is the kind of like the intro into Mario. And I think
okay, I see what you mean. At first I was like, what do you mean? Like, they still coming out with Mario games, but that makes, I get what you're saying. There was really, really young kids that maybe can't even like play games yet.
Mm-hmm. Like my
or like play them well.
Like my stepson, that's who I took to the movie. He absolutely fucking loves Super Mario Bros. His first movie ever. Doesn't understand the concept of movie theaters. He was like, "Why can't I go and watch another one?" You know, he kept trying to go into the movies. Like, I want to see it again.
Scott.
And I'm like, "No, dude, we gotta go." This is
He's gonna be a little cinephile. That's awesome.
Well, yeah. If only he can like last over more than 90 minutes, because most movies are 2 hours. He does not last. He gets bored within an hour.
Yep, it needs to be bright, colorful. At least, like I would say, like so. I agree with you that Super Mario Bros. Is a solid movie.
Mm.
I think what makes it a solid movie too is even as an adult, like, let's be honest here, plot just not. It's just it's okay. But that wasn't the reason I went to go watch the movie. I went to watch it for what you would say is the spectacle of it all. Like the scenes, like some of my favorite parts of that movie were like, and I'll still think about it every now and then, were like the moments where the whole screen would turn into like a Mario level, like, and like you're like, oh, it's downtown New York, but now it's like Mario running through it, and like he's like jumping up on like the crane to run up, and like, or like I know like at the very end when they were having that race to the pipe or whatever, and they did it again, and it was just such a cool montage, and then all the references to like
Mario Kart,
Smash Brothers, Mario Kart, Donkey Kong, like everything. It was just like that, like, so that was already good, but for me, like the thing that put it over the top that truly like I got chills was just the music, like all the different like motifs from the years, and being like I got legit like
I got
just like almost tears in my eyes. Like I was like, God, that's my like I remember like being a little kid.
I remember getting mad
playing some of these games
because they kept playing like popular music that you would see in like like the Minions and other shit like movies. I'm like, dude, you don't need other music. Just play fucking Mario music. You already have like a pretty good soundtrack base. Like you just gotta take those songs and put them in and mix them in and make your own little like,
Was it Miyamoto, that Shigeru Miyamoto? I forget who. 1 second.
I'm not sure.
But whoever does the music for Mario games, I think it's. I want to say. Oh, it's. Yep, never mind. Not who I thought it was.
Yeah. So,
anyways,
number 4. I don't have this like written down. I'm trying to decide on the spot where I want it because I kind of just laid out 5 movies. Number 4, I think I'm gonna put Detective Pikachu here.
That was a good flick. I agree. That's a good place.
And like it feels weird because it's like it's a Pokemon movie, but I'm like, no, it's literally based off the game Detective Pikachu.
I've never played. Have you ever played it?
No, not at all. That's why, like, when they were like, we're gonna make a movie off of this game, I'm like, wait, what? Did anyone play this game? I hear it's not bad. But I will say it was just really cool to see like Pokemon, like real life Pokemon.
That was, I was gonna say, I think that was Nintendo testing the water to be like, hey, will this, when people actually watch this, if we made live action?
I want more. I want more live action Pokemon. Give it to me.
Yeah, I'd be a fan. Give us like a series about like people battling and stuff. That would be epic.
So number 3, I'm debating what I want. I think I'm gonna put Sonic on here.
I haven't seen, so out of the list you sent me, I don't think I've seen some of these actually. I've heard like yet, but go ahead.
Yeah, so Sonic I think is number 3 for me, and I think it's the best movie that I have so far, just because there's a pretty good plot for it. I like how Mario Bros went hardcore into the video game aspects of it, but there wasn't enough plot. Whereas Sonic, this movie is just enjoyable. Like they have like their Easter eggs, and then the second one they definitely put in the Easter eggs a lot more. But it's just an enjoyable movie, and I thought they did a pretty good job. Like I think I gave it a 3 plus. Like it's one of those movies, like it's good. You can nitpick it if you want it, but overall, it's just an enjoyable film. And if you're wondering like why I have a 3 plus movie in the top 5 like projects, it's because there's not a lot of great projects when it comes to making adaptations. There's a lot of just kind of shit movies. It seems like the people who make the movies don't understand the games. And these 5, I think
that's true.
These 5 do. Even though Sonic tells its own kind of story, it still alludes to the video games, and in the second one, they definitely bring in those characters. So number 2 is we already talked about it, Twisted Metal.
Okay.
When I made this this script, this outline for this episode, Twisted Metal was in an honorable mention spot for franchises that needed one.
Yep.
And I did not think it was going to crack my top 5, but it does. It's a great product. I enjoy it. And then number 1, we already covered it. We already discussed this.
I already know what you're gonna say. Like
The Last of Us blows everything out of the water. It's a 4+ for me. It's like
I would give it a 5.
You give it a 5? I question.
To me, it's literally like I would have to rewatch it, and I also have hype and
I have rewatched it.
Fan glasses on, but I genuinely believe it's as close to perfect as you get.
I think
it's
the reason why
there's
I don't
maybe
it perfect is because they should have made more episodes.
Yeah, that's a fair criticism. The last episode should have been, it was too compressed. They could have done one more episode, and I think that would have been perfect.
Yeah, I think make it to 10. Make the last episode a little bit longer. Show a little bit more clickers. Not like I understand the reason why they did it. They mentioned it like, hey, if it doesn't have nothing to do with the fact of the theme of love, we don't want it. We get it, but you got to show the clickers as a threat.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't even have to be a lot. Just
season 2. Season 2. Season 2. Yeah, like I know Jake and I have discussed this at length, but folks, if you haven't played the games, you don't even. We already know season 2 is gonna
be great.
You're gonna have nightmares after you watch some of that shit.
Not,
I'll tell you that right now.
You know, it's a nightmare. We're not getting it for a while.
That is true. They did say, like, especially with the writer with the strikes. I'm like, just big bosses, just shut up, give out some of your money. You'll be fine. You're gonna make trillions more. Like, you'll be fine. Just give them what they want because they are the product, not you. Mm-hmm. All you do is just sit in a boardroom and drink your fucking seltzer and pretend you know what you're talking about when you don't. Like,
yeah.
Anyways, I'm ranting. We're not going to talk about Michael's opinions on corporate America.
I mean that's a whole other show that we should.
That is a whole other show.
That would be great to do. We're nerding out right now.
Yes, that is true.
So, what other movies would you possibly throw in the contention for top 5? I have 2 more in here, but I don't feel that strongly about them.
See, honestly, like I can't even think of any movie. The only other thing I can think of video game adaptation wise would be Castlevania, which is I haven't finished it yet, but the first few seasons are solid.
I hear it's solid.
Don't watch it with your kids.
There's a lot of like video game adaptations. I'm looking at the list here that I've heard about, but I haven't watched, or I haven't watched them great length. Like Resident Evil, I haven't watched any of those, but I heard.
Oh, I've heard Resident. I know the movies were like really camp.
Yeah.
So I guess there's an appeal there, but I know the new TV series they did that had what's his name? He just died. He was a really cool guy, Lance Reddick. Like I heard that was just complete ass. Like just god awful. Like,
and I'm trying to think of like just Warcraft was on there. Assassin's Creed, I remember being okay, but not great. Tomb Raider was also one of those. I threw it on the list because I'm like, I remember being like it's solid, but nothing amazing. And then Rampage is one of those with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Yep.
I never actually got to watching that movie, but I feel like Rampage is one of those like films, video games where it's like it's a video game, but it's more like that arcade, like it counts, but no one really like who's a huge Rampage fan?
Yeah, exactly. Some dude in his 50s probably.
Yeah, and then one of the like newer ones was like Uncharted, which I'm a pretty big Uncharted fan. Naughty Dog, but
Naughty Dog can't do no wrong.
But Uncharted, even with Tom Holland as Nathan Drake, which was kind of that. I like Tom Holland, but I don't. He's not Nathan Drake, and that movie just didn't feel like Uncharted.
Yeah, I think the problem is a lot of these people. It's what you said before. They don't understand like what makes the video game. They say, oh, people bought this game. They think it's really cool. All we have to do is just do like a version of it, and it'll be
Assassin's Creed.
It'll make us decent money. And it's like, no, there has to be more to it than
Like
that. Like, you can't just have it.
Assassin's Creed didn't even feel like Assassin's Creed game.
That's what I heard about that one too. Yeah,
Like, it didn't make sense. Oh, Need for Speed's another one. That one felt like it, but then I'm like, what's the story?
yeah.
Oh yeah, Prince of Persia: Sands of Time. That was kind of just meh, boring. I never watched Far Cry because they made that into a game. And then there's the Love Project, Mortal Kombat from 1995, and that movie's fun. Like I give it a 2+, but I'm like, it's a fun 2+. Like you throw it on, you get high or you get drunk, and you watch that film and you just do it to enjoy it because it's bad, but it's like enjoyable, nostalgic bad. And then you have the sequel, which is fucking awful. Like, I don't know how you get worse, but it got fucking worse. It was so bad. And then you have the new Mortal Kombat, which is, I think, better. It's respectable, but it's still not quite there. Like, I don't know how you have like your main character be a brand new character.
That doesn't really.
That's kind of just there. It's like I don't care. Give me Liu Kang. Like, you got your main character. You got Liu Kang, or like fuck, give me Johnny Cage. You know. And they didn't even.
Yeah, I don't like. I understand using a new character as a driver for the audience, but like generally,
just give me Liu Kang.
That only works to a point.
Yeah, and I feel like that's the big problem with a lot. Like, you kind of hit it. These producers, they don't understand what makes a video game great. Like let's look at the top 5 movies that I've listed, right? Or the top 5 projects. You have Super Mario Bros. Do they get deep into anything? No, but they give you all the Easter eggs and nostalgia and the music. You're reliving your childhood while creating new memories.
And like they stay, like especially with that one, like they stay very true to like the games, like Mario, like I said, like the little segments of him like jumping around and like it looks like a Mario level. Like
it's a love letter to Mario.
Yeah, and it looks and feels very true to the games. So
then you have Detective Pikachu, which tells the same. It's virtually the same story from the video game. And then for those who haven't played the video game, it's the first live action Pokemon. And it gives you a lot of moments where you just stare at the live action Pokemon and like it knows what its audience wants.
Yep.
Sonic, even though it tells its own story in Earth, at least gives enough Easter eggs and gives you like the theme of Sonic to the point, and even delayed the movie so Sonic looks correct because there was so much backlash.
Do you remember how there was I was gonna say, do you remember all the backlash when first showed
Sonic looked fucking awful.
I'm gonna look up that original Sonic design.
He looks god awful. I remember when they came out with him, like, my god, how do you fuck up Sonic? They did really good with the redo though. Like, he looks like his video game counterpart in this movie. Then you have.
Oh yeah. Oh, that was bad.
Yeah. Then you have Twisted.
That was bad.
Then moving on with Twisted Metal. They like this. This is a video game series. It isn't really known for its story. It's a basic win a great wish. You get a one wish from a genie type of situation, and they took that concept and just explored with it. Right? Hey, we're going to show you all these different groups. We're going to expand on these different groups. We're going to expand on these characters. Like, they did what the next show that we're going to talk about, The Last of Us, they expanded the concept. They expanded the lore. They told you the same story or a very similar story or the same theme of that story. But no, we're also going to expand it. We're going to make it better. And I feel like these movies don't get it. Like the first Super Mario Brothers, completely different story. Mortal Kombat the first one and the second one tried to do that, and that's why they have a little bit of success. Resident Evil did its own thing. I remember Doom when it came out. I remember Doom was instead of it was like space creatures, aliens, rather than demons from hell.
It doesn't track the same way.
No. I'm trying to think of like other movies. Prince of Persia kind of told his own story. Need for Speed, I mean, it's based off a racing game, so there wasn't a whole lot there. Assassin's Creed did its own thing. And like it's just Uncharted told its own story, and it's like you have a really good story in place already. You literally like copy and paste it, and you'll have a better story at this point.
But I also think, and I'm going to stop you there, because I don't think you can copy and paste it, because that doesn't work either. You have to still, because like there's parts of The Last of Us I remember. I think I was upset that they cut, but then like you look back on it and you're like, yeah, that won't really have like. I think one of like
Bill's
even
Town.
the clickers and stuff, like it's like yeah, that's too much action before it like.
Yeah, works for a video game, doesn't work for a TV. But that's what I'm saying is like if they would have copied and pasted rather than trying to tell its own story that's completely not the theme of like the story that was told before it.
Yep.
It would have been a better series. So, all right, let's move on. Top 5 franchises that need one. I made a list. You can chime in when you want to. So I wrote 5. And I wrote this kind of a little bit after Mario. So I got a little the first 2 kind of reflect Mario. So the first one is Spyro, the dragon. I think Spyro would be perfect for an animated movie. He just seems
that could be fine.
Like it just seems like Spyro would be a perfect like animated film that would be geared for kids, where you can make your own another game for these next generation of kids, while also playing enough nostalgia for the parents who grew up with Spyro.
Okay, that's interesting. I see. Like, I didn't play a lot of Spyro games when I was a kid, but I agree with you. I think there's a lot of those old like '90s characters that would fit perfectly in today's like, especially like making a movie for kids, and then be smart and make another game and make lots of money.
All right, the next one, same vein, Crash Bandicoot. How fun!
So in this adaptation, we're gonna go with more modern day Naughty Dog, and Crash is actually the last of his species, and he's trying to. I'm just going, dark as fuck with it.
This could almost be like live action CGI too, but I feel like you'd fuck up with it too much. This could also be like Spyro, just an animated. You have a lot of moments. It's if you made it the same vein of like Super Mario Brothers, this would be exciting.
That could be a really fun one.
I hope they go deeper with that, but I think Crash is one of those characters that I think kids would enjoy. All right, let's get into 3 more serious ones. I'm gonna skip number 3 that's on your list, and we'll go to let's do Dead Space.
I've only played a little bit of it, but yeah, like, well, I would say Dead Space or the alternative, something like Metroid.
Metroid, oh yeah.
Because the same vibe, like, and it's literally fucking based on Alien. Like, literally, like, the guy that made Metroid is like, I love that movie. He named the main bad guy after Ridley Scott. Yeah. And, like, honestly, like, there are parts of Metroid that, it's like a hand, like, I don't know if you played any of the 2D ones, which you have. If you haven't, honestly, do yourself a favor. Like, if you can, it's really, Dread's the newest one, and it's really good.
Okay.
But I would say Zero Mission, the original Game Boy Advance one, is fantastic. But anyways, those games just have such a fantastic atmosphere, and like you're like, oh, like you feel like you're alone on an alien fucking planet, and like you don't know what the hell's gonna come out and get you.
I feel like you'd have to have a couple other characters, like with Dead Space. You would have
you couldn't do it like just that. Like you could do like a character. Would it be kind of a character study, like using like Sam's?
I feel like these Dead Space would have to be a movie, or Metroid would have to be a movie.
Yep.
I don't think you could do a TV show. But
I don't think so either.
But these next 2 that I have would be amazing TV shows. One we mentioned already, which is Red Dead. You can do Red Dead Redemption 1 or Red Dead Redemption 2, which is a prequel to Red Dead Redemption 1. I think you could honestly just make both its own TV show, and it would just simply be a Western at this point. It would just be a Western TV show. but it's such a great story if you not just copy and paste it, but if you adapt it in like in the same vein as like The Last of Us, this would be one of the greatest TV shows of all time.
That would be cool. I would like it. I haven't played it, but I want to. So like but I've heard similar things. Like yeah, it's got like a very strong plot.
I think you should. It's you'll be what I joked to my girlfriend at the time. She'd be like, "Hey, do you want to hang out, or are you playing Cowboys?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm playing Cowboys." Like,
I'm playing Cowboys
because you're just like it feels like you're just living and breathing as a cowboy, and you have to play like
I
100
heard
plus
in the
hours.
rumor mill they're doing a remake of the first one. I thought
I wouldn't be surprised.
with updated visuals, that would be tight.
The first one's pretty good. I actually never finished the first one, and then I had it spoiled so many times that I like why bother at this point. But I played like 2/3 of the way through the first one, which is it's still a pretty good game. The second one though, oh my god, it just goes in depth. All right, and the last one, which I feel this is probably one of my favorite video game series in terms of like story over like multiple games. Outside of like Last of Us, but I really think Mass Effect would be a great TV show.
Okay. Well, it would be, from what I know of this franchise, it absolutely would be. The only thing that I think would get ire from fans is that, and I haven't played the Mass Effect series either.
You should.
Which is great. Like, also one thing I think is crazy. Like, I think you would agree with this. Like, while we're having this conversation, one thing I love about video games is like two people can have very different like. There's so many video games we can have very different like gaming experiences with some overlap. Like I have a lot of JRPGs that I know most people haven't played, or Western RPGs, like just obscure fucking weeb shit. But like I know of Mass Effect is like supposed to be like an incredible Western RPG.
Yeah.
So and I've been like it's one of those like on my list, but at the same time I've heard like mixed things on the ending.
Yeah, the ending
for 3.
So the ending for 3 is like for one, anyone listening, if you haven't played Mass Effect, it is worth at least playing the re-release. It's for the Mass Effect 1 is really hard to play through, like the original Mass Effect. Pretty hard to play through. It's still a great game, but it's just like the visuals aren't really that great up to date. But if you did the re-release that they did 2 years ago, fucking great. It's worth playing through. The ending is disappointing in the fact that like they've had like it's all this you tell your own story, you have your own choices, and they kind of all lead to the you get basically just 3 choices at the end. And they do redo it, the ending, but it is kind of disappointing that like Mass Effect 2 is amazing because your choices literally can kill everybody. If you put the wrong people in the wrong job, you could kill them. And I remember my last playthrough, I ended up killing like one of the best characters because I made a mistake. And like those characters die, and then like in the next game, they're not there; they're replaced by other characters. Like the story.
It'd be kind of funny as like a fan, like if they did do a TV series, if like did that intentionally. So like people that play the game, they're like, "No, you can't put them there."
And then you know, like, it would be great. Is what they should do. You know, like, oh my god, which playthrough are they going to do? They're going to make this.
I just don't know if Commander Shepard has enough of their own character to make a TV series based off them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think so.
I think so.
Yeah, even though like it's like the Commander Shepard still has like his own voice. You control him, but he still has like his own design of character. Like he still says it like the way Commander Shepard does. That makes sense.
Okay.
So, do you have any other franchises that you put on here that need one?
I have one franchise or one game specifically I would put on here. I know very few people, if any, have ever played it. I mean, it's an old DS game. And I'm pretty sure I've told you about this at length, but I swear to God, if people understood the concept or like read through the plot, they'd be like, "Oh shit, this would be incredible." And it would be The World Ends With You. That game, I like just thinking about it, just chills.
What is it?
It's called The World Ends With You.
Okay, you mentioned it before, but I don't remember it.
The whole premise of it, I'll try to make it brief, which is going to be difficult for me because, you know, my ADHD rambling, yes. But the whole premise of it is it's about a boy. So, well, first off, to give you some background, one thing that works really well with it as a game is it kind of flips like traditional JRPG and like RPG just in general, like tropes on their head. So, like the main character is this kid named Neku, and they could westernize this if they wanted to. There is a TV series that they made on it, and it's okay, but I think the concept could go really excellent. But anyways, the whole premise of it is this kid named Neku wakes up in like downtown Tokyo, doesn't know who the fuck he's like, I don't even know where I am. And he looks on his hand and he sees like a timer, like it's like a tattooed almost tattooed into his hand. And he gets a text message saying, "Hey, you're in the Reaper's game. You have like an hour to get to this place. And if you don't, you'll be erased." He's like, "Okay, what the fuck does that mean?" It's essentially a death game. So you find out like right away, like within like the first 2 hours, he's dead. Like he and everybody that's playing this game is dead, and they get a chance to come back to life. And so he starts off by partnering with this girl, and the whole game is really a personal journey for him. Like he goes from being this like closed off, arrogant little shithead to realizing that he's not as badass as he thinks he is, which is refreshing. B, being alone does nothing for you as a person or a society.
Yeah.
C, that the people that you like a lot. I'm just going through the big key like character arcs, which is like the people you love and trust may still break like that trust, but that doesn't mean you don't open up to other people. You still have to. You can't remain closed off. You need to open up to other people. It's the only way you'll ever grow as a person. And even though it sucks and it's hard and you're gonna get hurt, it's like it's just such a beautiful like character arc that I think if it was like translated into like again, there is people that have played the game and like have watched the show know there is a show, but it's like it misses the mark of what made it special.
Yeah.
But I think what would be cool about it is that you could translate that into like a Western version easily. That would be really like appealing to other people. It's like one of those games that I played.
It reminds me of Edge of Tomorrow, but with like an actual message about like people and relationships.
Yeah, I would highly like even if you don't like RPGs or like JRPGs, it's one of those games that just it's like on my list of like top 5 games. It's
Is it Game Boy?
It's like DS, but it's been on DS. There's a phone port and then there's a Switch port as well.
Nice.
But some people say the DS one's the best. It's the hardest one, but it is pretty damn good. But everything about it, for me, I would put it up in like it's like next to like The Last of Us in terms of like sheer raw emotional like for me.
Yeah.
Like character, like just seeing the building, I'm like I felt so, at least when I played it, it was at such a seminal moment of my life of being like a young like teenager and like being one of those edgelord kids like I'm better than everybody. Fuck you guys. You're all stupid and you enjoy life. And like having a game that's like slaps you in the face like, no, you don't do that shit. Be a fucking human being. You're not better than anybody. Like, and having that reality like slap me in the face, like really it came at just the perfect time for me. And like so I have a lot of bias towards it, but I'm just saying I think that would be an incredible, like if they could re-release it somehow. I don't know how else to explain it.
The story sounds great actually, like how you explain it. I'm like that. I like that. I like that the premise of it.
Yeah. Well, it's just such a short game too that you could easily make it like a 1 season long thing or like a movie.
Miniseries.
Maybe not. Maybe a miniseries would be ideal.
HBO miniseries.
That would be tight. So I don't know.
Outside of like HBO and then Amazon, I don't know what other like cable or like companies that would have like these products that I would be comfortable with. Netflix, hell no.
No.
Peacock?
But they did a really good job with Castlevania. Honestly, I think it's more of a director thing than a director and like team thing than it is a.
Netflix has like a huge like a wide cast. They'll make a lot of different like shows. So I know it's more director, but like I feel like just Netflix has had a lot of bombs lately with different.
Yeah, I'd say new Netflix right now is not hitting.
No,
the same way.
So if someone's like, "Hey, Netflix is coming out with like, name a video game, name a series, like Avatar is coming out with a live action one. I'm not super excited for Avatar. I don't like it. Looks like the pictures they released. It looks good,
Yeah.
but I'm not super excited for it. But if you were to tell me that it's coming out on Amazon or if it's coming out on HBO, I'm like, oh shit, I'm in. Or heck, even Peacock now with Twisted Metal.
Yeah, they could do it.
So, all right, another. I only have one more list, and then I have a semi list that I need your help on.
Okay.
Top 5 franchises that are coming out that I'm excited for. So number one, God of War. I forget if what I think Amazon maybe.
Yeah, they got the 2018 God of War they're wanting to do as a series.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I think God of War.
Okay, but I agree with you. I'm going to interrupt real quick
Okay.
because my only question is, are they going to do one season for God of War 2018? Is it going to be multiple seasons? Like that's because like you only have 2 games right now. Like so, how are you going to do that?
I don't know, but it's such a great story. Great. It feels like The Last of Us, but for God of War. But it's very grown up and mature. Like the first 3, which I did a video game nostalgia series, if you guys want to check it out, with Mr. Brandon Klein. And we didn't do the new God of War, but new God of War, like the first trilogy was very much a rage simulator.
Accurate way to put it.
But like this one's like, all right, we grew up, we're out of the rage. Let's be men trying to help out.
It's Dad Simulator now.
Yeah, it's like you're grown up, you're an adult dad who needs to take care of the next generation. Which for a lot of us growing up, that is how we feel. You know, like we were kids playing God of War, now we're dads trying to raise children mostly. And
I think. Oh, go ahead.
I don't know, like the story of God of War 2018, and then I haven't played God of War Ragnarok yet, is pretty good. I don't know exactly how the TV show will work. I think God of War 2018 will be a good TV show. I think the first like trilogy could have been a movie. Like
By the way, after this, remind me we can check. I could be wrong, but I think because I bought God of War digitally on PlayStation 5, that I have a PS4 version. So if I share my account with you, you could play it. If you like, I'm just throwing that out now. So I
2018 or Ragnarok.
Oh,
I'll do that.
But I don't know. Don't quote me on that. I'll have to look.
All right.
But I remember they had some situation like that where when it was like back when like there was no PS5s in the wild still, or like getting one.
You let me.
Anyways, okay.
You let me know. So the next one that's coming out, I forget who's doing it. Fallout is doing one. And I've been on the Fallout train lately with New Vegas, and I've seen some pictures, and it looks pretty good, but I don't know what the story is gonna be.
Yeah, I don't know. Like that's another franchise. Like this is what we were talking about before. Like I haven't played too many Fallout games and played bits and pieces of them. I love the concept though, and it looks
Amazon.
hilarious. Yeah.
Okay.
See, Amazon is just like so hit or miss for me though. Like because Rings of Power was really
Rings of Power was kind of mixed, but
but they could do it. But then The Boys like is really good. Like it's so tough. So like it could like I feel like there's no way all of these adaptations turn out great.
No.
You know what I mean?
But
if we get like 1 or 2 really good ones, I'll be happy. Like
I'm just excited for Fallout just because like this is what like Fallout's one of those, if you get the tone right, as long as you get the tone, you get the zaniness of like the NPCs, the characters of Fallout, you could tell your own Fallout story.
Easily.
Which is what's great about Fallout is you don't have like Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas, and Fallout 4, none of them have like this great amazing story to tell. It just has a really unique, interesting world. So like Fallout is one of those perfect video games that you could just take that, as long as you take the theme, like the themes of the video game, and you get the I'm trying to think of the word for it. The aesthetic of Fallout down, and you tell a great story with using the Fallout aesthetic and the themes of Fallout, you're gonna make a pretty good series.
I agree. I could see that. I admittedly my knowledge is very limited, but yeah, I agree.
And then So the next one is Tomb Raider, the TV series, which I think just that it's a great setup for a TV series, at least for like a mini series or a movie. But they've tried several movies and it's always been boring. Horizon Zero Dawn is another one. I forget.
From what I know of the plot, that one could be pretty tight. But the only thing that sucks with that one is like that one's gonna be a pain in the ass to make because of all the CGI you're gonna have to do.
Oh, and
but
it
could
Netflix.
Be really cool.
Never mind, I'm down on it. It's Netflix.
The doubt is back. He's not so sure anymore.
Oh,
Assassin's Creed could. Oh,
yeah.
Oops.
So yeah, the next one.
I was just like going through the list.
Assassin's Creed. I know it's coming out, and I'm like, Assassin's Creed is such a great. It would be a great TV show if done correctly.
Yeah, it could be really,
if
really
you
cool. Would you get rid of the future, like the present day stuff?
Here's the thing: you could do this two different ways, right? And this is the story I would tell. I would tell the story of Ezio. And in the order that the first season could even be, I forget the guy's name. You could do the Assassin's Creed of the first one, but Ezio would be the perfect story to tell, and you could tell it in multiple ways. You could do it. You could just do the past only. However, I think like the future aspect is good. Like it's an interesting storyline, and you can
at least in the first 3 ones, I know it was supposed to be really cool. I got into Assassin's Creed with 3, and then I played Black Flag, and then I heard they went to shit after that.
I hated 3.
Yeah, 3 was okay, but Black Flag was incredible. That could be in its own fucking show right there.
I heard Black Flag is great. I stopped after 3 because like I was so.
You haven't played Black Flag yet?
No,
I don't even play Uncharted or Assassin's Creed games, and that game. That was like one of the first when I took like a 2-year or 1-year hiatus from video games. That was one of the first ones I got back, and I remember getting like fucking plastered on rum in my dorm room and like singing along to the pirate shanties while like cruised around the Caribbean. It was a fucking vibe, man.
That sounds great. Just
it was a great
perfect choice.
Oh, a pirate's life for me.
No, I stopped after 3, so it's such a disappointment, and I'm like, I don't care about the series anymore. It's like the third one should have been great, but it wasn't.
Yeah, they definitely, from what I know of the fans that like the series, they did not like 3 that much.
No, but Ezio would be a great story. I hear Odyssey would be a good story too, even though I haven't played an Assassin's Creed game since Ezio.
I would tell you, like myself, 4 was so good, and I think they're literally doing another remake of it because it was like so popular. They're like, oh, people really like this one, allegedly.
I kind of want to get into Odyssey because I like Greek. So, but here's some other.
I thought Odyssey was the Egyptian one. Was it? No, Odyssey that would track because that would.
I think with Origins. Greek. Origins might have been the Egyptian one. But all right, so I have a few honorable mentions. I put Twisted Metal on here because this is like months before it came out. But Twisted Metal came out. It's great. Watch it. BioShock. I don't know how you're going to do this, but I'm intrigued. Borderlands, the movie's coming out next year.
That'd be a fun one. That could be a very, very fun one.
That one does sound zany and fun, and I'm excited for it. And then, I don't know why I put this down here, but I heard Metal Gear Solid with Oscar Isaac as Solid Snake is possibly a thing.
So that's a franchise I've never played, but always really, really wanted to. And I know Hideo Kojima would fucking nut over being able to make his video game into a TV series. Like, that would be his jam. The problem is would Konami let him?
Yeah.
I don't know how much you have stayed up to date with that, but there was a lot of drama there. Like, he gave them, like, yeah, it's fucked.
I've heard bits and pieces about it. I know we talked about it a little bit. But yeah, I don't know. I must have heard a rumor. I remember writing this down and being like, oh, this would be an interesting series. But I don't know if Oscar Isaac's great, so I don't doubt him, but he's not one I pictured being Solid Snake. But I think he would kill it regardless.
I could see that.
But I'm like, this would be a great series. But also, if this was a TV series, I think by like if there was like a 10-episode series, by episode 7, I'd be like, what the fuck's going on? Because that's what happens in every Metal Gear Solid game I ever play. Especially the second one. That one's crazy because once like you get to the ending of it.
Wasn't that the one was the second one where you have what's his name? The dude that turns into a cyborg.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Well, did you know The Last of Us Part 2 was, well, I'm not going to say too much, but took a big inspiration from that game because they marketed it with Solid Snake, and then Raiden showed up, and people were like, "What? What the fuck?" And then that's exactly what Neil Druckmann wanted to do with Part 2. He was like, "I love that." So
I actually enjoy. I
saying.
really enjoyed the second one because that was the game that I played like hardcore. Metal Gear Solid is always this like the series where like I'll pick it up, and it takes me like days to get into it because it's so different than every other video game I played that like I have to like relearn how to play video. Like I have to relearn how to play Metal Gear Solid. I can't just jump on and know what to do like with a lot of these different video games that basically steal, copy, and paste different like the fighting or the shooting or the sneaking aspects of it, whereas Metal Gear Solid is its own thing that it takes me forever to figure it out. But once I figured it out, oh man, it was such a fun playing through it.
You were in it. You were like, I'm fucking ready.
All right, so I have like one more list, and I did two, and this is like the top five that I want, like the television shows or movies that I want redone. And I only wrote two because I couldn't really figure out like which ones I wanted redone. First one was Far Cry. Because if you made a Far Cry game, but you made it off of 3, and you get God, I forget his name, the actor who does.
Glass.
Yeah, the actor.
But he also is it Nacho. He was fucking. That was Nacho, dude. Same dude.
Yeah. I know it's the same dude. But
okay.
Like, if you
sorry.
If you get that actor back, I forget what his fucking name is. But if you get that actor back to play Vaz, and you make him the villain for the whole series, like I'm in. It could just be like a TV show.
Michael Mando, by the way.
How did I forget Michael Mando? He's so great. I hope he comes back with Scorpion in a Spider-Man film.
That would be tight. Dude, he was in some drama recently. I think he got kicked off site for something.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah, he was fired due to a physical altercation with another cast member in some upcoming crime drama. Sorry.
Wow. Anyway, that aside, Far Cry 3 with him would be great.
Yeah, that would be fantastic.
Another one I want redone is Uncharted.
I agree. I was gonna say that was actually one thing I was gonna say as well because that, I mean, Naughty Dog just knows how to make those cinematic games that would translate so well to like a movie or like. And
then you get Uncharted,
the TV series.
You get Uncharted the video or the movie, and it's just not it. Like it's
the
just,
one thing.
It's just like it's just a basic, generic action film with the name Uncharted. Nathan Drake.
By the way,
oh, you go.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, I think the thing is, if you're gonna do something like Uncharted, you have to commit to the spectacle of how those games are.
You do.
Like one of my favorite fucking moments from any video game. When I think back on like memorable moments, it's not like it's like in my top 20, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Is there was a level in the second one, and I think people hated it, but I really liked it, where you were on this giant dagger. Like you had to climb around in this giant dagger and open up the blades, and I just remember being like, "Wow, this is cool!" And it was in this big like secret underground room, and like I don't remember how it all shook up.
I played that game 3 times, and I forget. If like you showed it to me, it would like I'd be like, "Oh yeah," but I don't quite remember it. But I do like the train section from Uncharted 2.
That part is yes.
In the first one, you get the plane that's like overcome by the jungle in the middle of the jungle. It's kind of cool. You get the Uncharted 3. They did the airplane sequence, but it doesn't like. I feel like the way they filmed it was like the most boring way possible because you have it like looking from like the way that like the directing style is from like outward. Whereas I'm like, nah, the video game was like in person, you know, like you were up close and you were like in the action. I'm like, you have to film it where you see like the peril of the actor, you see the peril of the character, you see it up close and personal. That like, hey, you have to make these ridiculous climbs, 10,000 feet in the air just to survive.
Yep.
And they didn't quite do that. Or in the third one, they did the ocean ship where it like turns over and the glass breaks.
Oh, that was a really cool moment too. That's okay. That's actually might be even higher up than the other one. Because I remember that boss fight. I was like, my jaw just dropped. I was like, this is incredible.
Or in the fourth one where you're going through town in that chase sequence.
Yes, with like the little warthog thing or whatever. You're just whipping around.
But here's the thing, like in movies, like you see it all the time. Like it's not anything special. So you would have to film it from like a video game perspective where it feels like you feel that spectacle. And you know what? The movie didn't do it justice, but you know what did do it justice? The fan film with Nathan Fillion.
Did do it justice?
It didn't do the spectacle justice, but it did. Like it felt like an Uncharted movie. And I'm talking about the Nathan Fillion Uncharted series, the Uncharted indie movie.
I didn't see that. I'll have to look into
Check it out.
here.
Check it out afterwards. Nathan Fillion's in it. Who's like the perfect older Nathan Drake. Like he fits Nathan Drake very very well. But check it out because like the camera movements feel like a video game. You feel like you're playing the video game. And I really like when movies, when projects, TV shows make you feel like you're also playing the video game. We talked about it with Super Mario with the 2D version, right?
Yep.
Last of Us had a couple moments where you feel like you're in, like there's moments where you feel like the video game. Not as great too as like this movie or Super Mario, but they're there. And I think that's just the downside of like a lot of these projects. They don't try to make it like feel like the video game as well.
Oh, they just think people care about like just the story. Like it's like no, there's so much to each of these like projects. Like you can't, you really can't forego any part of it. Like if you're gonna, because like honestly, in some ways, like I think what happens is like with something like a book, a director can take that book and give it their own stylistic decisions because there's no audio or there's no visuals. It's all just like you're reading. It's almost like a script, but it's not. But with the video game, you can't do that because it's already established to have a certain look, a certain feel, a certain sound effects, music, like everything's already there. Like there's nothing you can do that's gonna, I don't know.
Like The Last of Us is the perfect example. Like they kept the theme of the game, they kept the feel of the game, but they still added their own, like Greg Mazin still added his own flair to that series and added stuff that like just expanded the lore. He added little bits and pieces of story added to the lore, but it was filmed in like his style.
Yep.
So yeah, you can put your own twist on it, but you can't take away what made the game great. You can't take away those aspects. Fallout is one of those. Like, I saw a picture recently of like a car, and it looked like the car from the video game, like how a rustic car would look. And I'm like, God damn it, you guys are on it, because I looked at that photo and I'm like, that's a Fallout photo. And I'm looking at a rusted car, folks. Like that's what I'm looking at. But like the fact that I can look at that rusted car and know exactly what it's from without even looking at anything, I'm like, I know that's for Fallout. Probably because I played Fallout a lot recently. But like, I feel like most people who don't respect the product, who don't respect the thing they're adapting, they would just make the rusted car look like a normal whatever rusted car. They wouldn't try to copy what it is on the video game.
Yep.
So I really do love that like a lot of these video games, like the people who are adapting it, they're not trying their own twist. They are, hey, no, we're taking what's great from the video game, we're keeping it in these TV shows, and we're gonna try to do our best to adapt it while still keeping the essence of the video games. We're still keeping the theme. We're still keeping what makes it great, but we're just putting it on the TV screen. Or at least
I agree.
Or at least that's the hope. But this year, Twisted Metal seems like they're doing it. Mario, Last of Us. That's 3 good projects right there. So we'll see.
They definitely, I think that people are starting to understand it more. They're getting closer to like understanding. Oh, this is what people like. Like you still have to. I think what we said ultimately comes down to is like you can adapt and change things, like, but you can't change the heart of the story. I mean, or like the themes of the franchise, like depending on what how unique you're going.
It's like the Last of Us TV show. We're using that example. Like, how would you make that bad? You would take the whole overall story and change it from the theme of love to, hey, we're just gonna have a lot of action with clickers in it. We're gonna make a zombie
That's
horror
what people
show.
want. They didn't care about the relation. They kind of did, but
like, here's the thing. Yeah, we want the clickers because it's exciting, but at the same time, like, if you don't have a great story, if you don't have the love, like Last of Us right now, our biggest complaint, there wasn't enough clickers. We're still giving it a 4+. You're giving it a 5.
Yeah.
Like we're still like, this is a great TV show because, hey, you told a great story. You basically not copied and paste, but like it feels like The Last of Us. It is The Last of Us. My only complaint, there's not enough action. Still a great story. If it was the vice versa, there's a lot of action, but didn't have good writing, yeah, it's a 2, maybe a 3. At best.
At best, yep.
So yeah, let's hope. I know with the writer actor straight, we're not going to get a lot of these shows anytime soon. So let's hope that the actors and writers get paid and they don't get robots stealing their jobs.
Yep.
So,
I mean, I would like to see the executives try and see how badly that works out for them, but
yeah, who would be interested?
I don't want to be the person that pays that price, though.
Yeah, AI writes mediocre scripts. AI acts mediocrely. They only know how to imitate. They don't necessarily know how to create. Whereas a human
It's
does.
literally some fucking dude sitting in a boardroom being like, fine, you're going to rage, you're going to go on strike, I'm just going to put this prompt into ChatGPT. We'll see how smart you are after that. It's like, oh, okay, bro.
Good luck.
Okay. Hey, good luck.
Good luck. Trust me, we're just going to watch everything that came out like years ago.
A24, I think they do all those indie movies, and they're already like, yep, we agree to your guys' conditions. We have no problem with that.
Oh.
So, like, they're smart because they're going to make fucking bank.
Yeah, all their movies are going to come out on time.
Yep, they're not going to have to lose any money, any issues, nothing. It's going to be great for them.
All right. Well, now we're getting into politics, which is a whole different subject.
Yes, it is.
Which I would love to talk about, but I think this is a good spot to end. What do you think, Michael?
I agree. I was going to say, I'm getting pretty pooped. I need to take a bathroom break and get some aqua in my existence.
Yeah, I got 2 containers full of liquids because I know how it is.
Yes.
All right. Well, this is Don't Involve Me. This is Michael Schumer and Jake Sherman. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Please check out my TikTok at Don't Involve Me. We are doing movie reviews. At some point, I'll be doing what I would do for Pokemon gyms. I've been workshopping that idea for a while now. And other cool things. Also check me out on YouTube. I do some specifically YouTube stuff. I do put it on if I possibly can, I put it on Spotify as a podcast as well. But there's stuff I make specifically for YouTube. So check that out. As well as check out the Facebook page and website coming soon at some point. All right. Thank you, Michael. I think
Thanks, buddy. We're out. Love you guys. Sub. Give us the subs.
Thanks, Michael.